This will be a short, what I call screenshot video. What I have up on the screen are the notes from the first posting in weeks 1 to 2. And this posting really covers definition of the law, and it also references purposes of the law and identifies several concepts of justice. In a later posting, we'll talk about what I refer to as the players in the system, namely attorneys and judges, and probably what will spill over to weeks 3 to 4, the 5 sources of the law. So I don't think we have to spend an awful lot of time with general definitions of the law. What might be helpful is to think, in, at least in a general way, that we have positive law, which is the law, as I'm pointing out here, as it actually is. So it doesn't mean positive in the sense that it's necessarily good, but positive in the sense that it's been posited, it exists. We also can think about natural law. And natural law really is not written down by the government as natural law. And we could think of it as a theory of morality that some might say emerges from the human conscience. Some of you, like me right now, are thinking of the people that we have known who might not have a conscience, but that's another matter. Clearly, at least under the government in human society, natural law is not enforceable. We may belong to religious groups, or in our households we may have standards of behavior that we think reflect at least our understanding of the natural law, but it's not the kind of law that's going to find its way as written as we would be thinking of if we looked at, again, I'm pointing to it, the positive law. And when we think a little bit further about the natural law, we could see instances where people of good faith disagree about what it may be and where it may end. And when I say people of good faith, I'm talking about people who are sincerely interested in having a discussion about this matter, rather than someone who may be using it as a way to advance some kind of manipulative political goal. And if we look at the positive law again, we could see that behaviors and, quite frankly, the shape oftentimes of the positive law can be reflected by how a person may be thinking about the natural law. And what I point out, for example, there's a recent Supreme Court decision dealing with reproductive rights, abortion, and Dobbs versus Jackson Women's Health Organization. We're not really going to study that case per se because it doesn't fit particularly within the boundaries of the course, though I might make some other references to it later on. But my point here is simply this. If we looked at how different members of the Supreme Court were interpreting positive law in the form of the U.S. Constitution, we would see how they may be showing their hand about how they feel about the natural law. And certainly this course is not intended for me to use as a platform about what my personal opinions or beliefs are, and I'm not going to be expressing those. So if I say anything along the way, whether it's about Dobbs or any other matter, I'm trying to simply offer some neutral observations. So, for example, in Dobbs, certainly if you read the majority opinion of the court, the one that overrules Roe versus Wade, written by Justice Alito, and if you compare what he wrote to the dissenting opinion, you are going to certainly see that the Alito and the judges on the majority believe that abortion, quite frankly, is morally wrong, and you're going to, I think, see reflected in the dissent that a strong belief that a person's, in this case certainly a woman's, decision about reproduction expresses perhaps a greater morality than the morality surrounding abortion. Again, none of that is my opinion, but certainly there's different views of the natural law, I think, expressed in those opinions. In this course, we're going to be considering the law as it actually is, the positive law. We're going to be looking at it at the state and federal level. And as I've noted, we're going to consider two of the main actors or players in the system that administers the law, lawyers and judges. More of those later. But let's get into the next topic, purposes of the law. And I've identified, by reference to a great legal thinker who you probably have never heard of. So when I say a great legal thinker, people who study what we would call jurisprudence, Roscoe Pound, he identified four different purposes or functions of the law. I've outlined them there. And again, when we look at those four purposes, you and I, or better said, maybe two people, could agree fully on each one of those four purposes, but nevertheless disagree when it got down to the nitty-gritty as to whether a particular law fit or was compatible with one or more of those four purposes, and it raises perhaps such a disagreement what a person's sense of justice is, which again echoes the natural law. And I pose the question, what exactly is justice? And it seems to me it's like what Plato apparently said, I wasn't around then, about beauty, which is justice is what can be seen in the eyes of the beholder. But if we wanted to talk about justice a little bit more, rather than just argue about whether something is just or unjust, we might have a better analysis and perhaps a better informed disagreement if we looked at justice as consisting of three subcategories: distributive justice, corrective justice, and procedural justice. So distributive justice we could think of as raising issues about the fairness of the distribution of something among people or groups. And certainly whatever is distributed or divided can be a benefit or it can be a burden. Again, without me expressing what I believe about it, if we just considered the recent executive order of President Biden to forgive a certain amount of student debt, we can certainly find people who are in agreement with that, and they might say to us that under the concept of distributive justice, it's a fair distribution of income to people who really need it. There may be other people, I know there's other people from looking at the media, who strongly disagree with the forgiveness plan, believing that it's an unfair distribution and in the long run really has imposed a burden on them. A second concept of justice would be corrective justice, which concerns the fairness of the response to a wrong or an injury to a person or group. It's pretty obvious that the criminal law is in large part about corrective justice because it seeks to punish those who have violated the law or committed a crime. But we can even see that when we look at the civil law. Later on in the course, we'll talk about torts. And when we're talking about torts, we'll see that a person who has been injured by the negligence of another person might be entitled to receive damages. And we're considering then under corrective justice, how fair is the punishment? How fair is it to award that amount of money? The last of the three categories is procedural justice. And it would raise the issue about the fairness of how information is gathered or how a decision is made. And if we take a look at the criminal law, if a person is a suspect with certain safeguards, the police can question the person and perhaps obtain information from the person. And that might be compatible with our sense of procedural justice. In other instances, if someone was tortured to get information, most of the time, I suspect many of us would think that that violates procedural justice. But even then, in certain settings, there were certain people, at least, who argued in the wake of 9/11 and international terrorism that maybe it is compatible with procedural justice to torture, let's say, by waterboarding a person to get information that might save human lives. Again, no opinion on my part, but I think it underscores how our thinking and discussions of justice might be more refined if we look at these three concepts, and in this case, of course, procedural justice. And if I was going to stand on the soapbox, all I would say is if we're going to have discussions or participate in our democracy in terms of what the law might be and how it might be changed, those kinds of topics, I think it's very useful to try to get as specific as possible and perhaps keep some of these definitions in mind. So that'll end this posting, and I'm going to put up some material about lawyers and then later judges, and I'll do some more screenshot videos in conjunction with those topics. Thanks.